Hello, 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 and welcome again to the podcast number 2, the Double Espresso Show, powered by Pearl Coffee. Previously, we have spoken in the last podcast about the coffee industry, what we do as a company, why we are different, and inside knowledge into our industry and how for you to stay in top. The aim of today is to go a little bit further into bigger detail to see and give you some hints and tips on how you can grow your coffee business, whether you are a coffee shop, restaurant, gastropub, bar, or even a gym. Number one issue we discovered, or one of the main issues we discovered last time, was about burning the milk. Now, everyone knows that to make customer happy, you have to give them a good quality coffee. One of the problems that we find again and again and again with independent coffee shop owners, whether it's a busy restaurant, gastropub, or just a cafe, is that they don't take enough time to learn how to prepare the milk correctly, how to froth the milk correctly. And therefore, they often serving coffee which is way too hot. The milk is basically burnt. So how can you avoid doing that? Very easily, you can sign up with a lot of barista courses by following the link in bio. We'll leave you some description about yourself, and we will shortly get back to you and show you how we can improve you and your business to make sure that you're serving that perfect coffee every single time to your customer. Number two issue that we went over slightly briefly last time, but we want to go into further detail today, is about espresso. Espresso. If you're not serving a good espresso, you got it all wrong at the start, because espresso is a fundamental drink upon which every other drink is based upon. So if your espresso is bad, your cappuccino will be bad. Your latte will be bad. Every single drink will be bad. So the first thing we teach and learn people to do is to make a good espresso. Now, we all know that an espresso has to have a good amount of crema, which means it must be extracted correctly. But also, you must make sure that you have correct programming of the machine for the espresso, because often enough, espresso is too short. Did you ever walk into a coffee shop and find that, you ask for a single, maybe even double espresso, it was just for one bite. It was very, very short. Now, of course, you're not going to satisfy a customer by serving them a single double espresso, which is too short. What is the correct measurements? A single espresso should be 30 milliliters, as per industry standards, or 1 ounce. Now, double espresso would be 60 milliliters or 2 ounce. And again, as per industry standard, anything below that will be considered too little, and customer will be not happy because they paid for something £2.40, £2.60, and they're getting basically a 1 zip of coffee, which is not good enough. Now, what we can do for you is, when you become our coffee customer, we check your machine before we start supplying you. We have to make sure that your machine is programmed correctly. So a single espresso button and a double espresso button are all programmed correctly to dispense you the correct amount of coffee. Because sometimes it's not even your barista's fault that the espresso is too short or too long. It is simply malfunctioning of the machine, because when you press a single button or double button for the espresso, it's not programmed correctly. Now, how to program the machine, we can also show you that. We can teach you that as well, to elevate your skills to the next level and to make sure you're running more successful, better coffee shop. Because if your coffee is better, your sales will improve. Now, your sales will improve, they're lucky to gain loyal customer base. And from there onwards, you can start improving your business and not having the difficulty of learning that some of the customers don't like your coffee or not 100% happy. So that's very, very important. Okay, so I want to today speak to you about the coaching. A lot of times people are very hesitant to take on up a business coach or sign up to any sort of programs or just to learn about business, because of the amount of influencers, Instagram influencers, and as such they've seen online over the years. They think it's all a little bit of fluff, but it's not always like this. And I can assure you of that. For example, you can see a real company behind us. We are not just proclaimed self-taught gurus that are out there telling you we're going to make you millions and millions of pounds. We are telling you and teaching you the basics of the coffee industry, of how to make coffee, how to prepare coffee, how to look after your machine, and we can actually look after your machine on the technical side and provide you one of the best products in the market. Now, if that sounds good to you, then you have to listen a little bit further. I want to share with you an inside story of how I started in business. Something I briefly talked about on a previous podcast. But you know, when you think about how I started in business, when did it really happen? When did I find entrepreneurial spark, as they call it? Well, to be honest, I think it's somewhere along the line has started in early childhood. I think that I was a little bit more organized than others at an early age, and I could organize myself well, and I think that what sparked me into thinking I can work for myself, because if I can organize myself, I'm organized, determined, passionate, I can make something into a business. At the time I didn't know what my business would be, but that's how I started. Now later on I started obviously selling coffee and doing technical support, started then working for one of the companies that did it on a larger scale, and then I went in and worked for myself. But coming back to coaching, what I think about it. Well, let me tell you a bit more further. In 2017, I bought a company called Pearl. It used to be called Pearl Products. Now I kept the name pretty much the same because I acquired a large customer base with that name. And a gentleman who was doing the Pearl business before me was Derek. And Derek was a very good gentleman. He was looking to sell his business because he was, retirement age, and he was looking for someone young to come on board to sell to someone who is young, who can perhaps grow the business, keep the customers, etc., etc. Now, when I bought the business, I didn't just buy the business and the customer base. I also bought the advice, because before I bought the business, I asked the questions: can I overshadow you for a month? Can I see how you do? What is your system for service? Because I knew it's essential when you're getting into business to know exactly what service level customers are expecting and what service level customers are used to. Now, when I learned this from Derek, and I was shadowing him for a month, I was confident that I knew when I take over, when the final payment is made for that instance, what I needed to do to keep up that business and maybe potentially even grow it. And I want to say a big thank you to Derek, because he has taught me a little bit at that time the fundamentals of running a company, essentially. Now, looking back at it, it's been 7 years now, nearly. You know, we have outgrown a little bit the customer base that Pearl gave us at the start with. So we have expanded into bigger geographical areas. We were serving some of the customers in Cornwall and Devon as well. We're serving some customers up north near Peterborough. And we really have expanded. And now I'm also looking to work with, from my side, from different business gurus who have done in the past to help me elevate to a next level. Hence, one of the reasons I came into a podcast to help improve the sales. I'm just being truthful and honest as how it is. But you know what? I've achieved my level, which is me greater than perhaps what you're right now. You need me to come along and give you that information and teach you how you can succeed in business, because as I mentioned, it's all about interdependence. The more sales that your coffee shop restaurant makes, the more sales we make. So that interdependence, the more you grow, the more we grow. And I'm not charging at the moment for any coaching. What it is we have a program, whether you want a barista school program, we have a program net for you, which you can find out more about it if you click the link in bio. I will be more than happy to have a discovery call with you, find out your current situation, find out where you are in business, how long you've been in business, where you operate, whether you have one store, a few stores, find out about a little background about you, find out how knowledgeable your staff about the coffee, and then a tailor, because that's what we do. We are distinguished in our service package, so we tailor it to the current skill that you have. So if, for example, you already know certain skills, we're not going to teach you that again and having you waste money and waste 1 hour of your time learning something you might already know. Therefore, it's very important for us to have that 30 minutes discovery call, find out where and what the gaps we at the business can fill for you, and then start trading via supplying the products and outstanding technical support all year round. So I would say to people who are have that procrastination, they're afraid to invest in their business, be it the coaching, be it the new coffee machine, be it anything. Well, why are you afraid to invest in yourself? Because if you invest in yourself, you acquire more skills, you become more intellectual in that certain area, and you can economize on that, you can profit on that. The same thing when you invest in your business. Now, let's say I want to be a taxi driver, for instance, for the sake of an argument, and I have Toyota Aygo. Now, I might have to pick up passengers, who have big luggage. How am I going to do it in that car? Well, I can't, because I haven't got appropriate tool to do the job. So what do I need to do? I probably need to buy an estate car, SUV, where I can actually say I'm a reasonable taxi service. I can take 3, 4, 5 people and luggage, because otherwise you'll be counting only on maybe a single or 2 passengers at a time, and you can't take the luggage because you're not fit for purpose. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that you understand what kind of volumes your coffee shop can do, what kind of volumes you want to do, and that you have appropriate tools to be able to perform. Because there's nothing worse than wanting to serve 1,000 customers, but if you only have one toaster in your kitchen, one little coffee machine, which is only a single group, you won't be able to accommodate those people. Those people, even if they do come in, they will end up leaving due to the high number of queues, long waiting time. So it's a bit of a dilemma, but it doesn't have to be a dilemma. If you are given advice and if you know how you can start that. For example, I can tell you, if you're thinking about amplifying your sales, having a proper equipment installed, maybe 3-group machine, maybe 2, 3 grinders, and you kind of thinking, well, how I'm going to do it? Well, we have a finance options available for you to have a brand new equipment and pay that monthly installments per month. That's something that we do as well, which is called leasing, where you can actually own equipment at the end of that 3, 4, 5-year period without any balloon payments. We're one of the best companies actually that talks you through the financing option, because a lot of times they just want to sell you something and say, yeah, well, this, that, the other, just sign here, sign there, but you actually don't know what you're getting at the end. We actually take you through that process and tell you exactly, well, this is how much it's going to cost if you put a deposit of so-and-so. This is how much it's going to cost if you put a larger deposit. This is how much it's going to cost if you don't have a balloon payment at the end. This is how much it's going to cost you a 3-year or 5-year period. Now, I'll be honest with you. If you have the money and ability to pay for something straight away, especially for the equipment, it is best to do it. But we understand it's not always going to be feasible, especially for people who haven't been in the business for 5 or 10 years. They may not have enough reserved capital, so to speak, to lash out £5,000 to £10,000 on the brand new equipment. So for that reason, we have other options available for you. So look no further. Follow, subscribe, download, depending on what social platform you're on right now, and fill up the link in bio. And we'll get back to you soon, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Something I wanted to mention to you about the social issues, economical issues, charities, and etc., etc. We get commonly asked, what do we do for social cause? Well, one thing we do is we offer premium fair trade coffee beans. So that means that the farmers who have grown those beans and catered for those actually paid a fair price. And some regions in the UK are very fair trade towns, and they really care about having fair trade products. So if you happen to be in Wiltshire, for instance, and you consider yourself to be in a fair trade town, and you also care about the social cause and impact, we actually provide fair trade beans as well. So you can get back to us, and we will provide you with more information, and we're very happy to give you some samples and actually do a drop-in session with you and talk about the business, or vice versa. You can just dial for discovery call, and we'll be happy to talk you through that as well. Now, for us, looking what's in the future, because we don't do much more than just supplying the coffee beans. Our aim for the future is something I'm passionate about, is about the health industry. I'm passionate about how we can impact the youth to make them, not just have better mental health and physical health, but actually to have other forms of enjoyments. Because unfortunately, after the past decade, a lot of young people have turned into a wrong side of a road, put it that way, and there's all sorts of mental health issues at the moment. There's all sorts of problems with the young people where they get into addictions and so on. And it would be really lovely to do something for them in the future where they can actually take their focus into maybe some sport. And I know that in the UK, the sport is already partially sponsored. Some sports are partially sponsored for kids, but there is not enough variety of sports, I would say, there to present to young generation, youth, teenagers, and say, look, you can do calisthenics, and if you're under 12, it's free. You can do wrestling, you can do boxing, and if you're under 12, it's free, and it's highly encouraged. If they go to those sports sessions, they're even going to get better grades from school, for instance, because they're doing something extracurricular that will be benefiting them, their parents, and the wider community, because they will have less anger, less frustration, and more positivity. And also, spreading the message further, the young people will view a sport not just somewhere you go to improve your mental health or get a physical health or strength, but also something you can do as fun. And instead of going drinking, the youth can go, and I'm really passionate about this, right? Can really go and do some sport and do better good for themselves, their families, and the wider community as a whole. Because people who do sports tend to be, as statistics show, more productive, more clever, and actually happier overall. And to be honest, I'm going to go a little bit back to when I was young. When I was young, my, I wouldn't say idols, because I don't do idols, but the people I looked up to when I was 5, 6 years old were Arnold, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, who else? Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. Right, those were my favorite sort of movie stars back in the day. Nowadays, it's changing, and I don't think it's always going in the right direction. Now, and that's where we will come along. I will come along as a company, and we will build almost in every park a sports stadium. Now, there are some companies doing sports stadium, and they will probably want to take bite my hand off for that, but let them try. I will put a sports stadium, so it will be a calisthenic bars, double parallel bars, all those sorts of things I want to do for young people, so that the gym is accessible to everyone. Because kids, when they're 10, 12, 13, 14, they're messing about, they not have the access to the commercial gym necessarily, or maybe lifting weights for them isn't the best thing to do. So therefore, they will have something on the playground that is teenager level / adult level, and they can do some pull-ups, some dips, and they can develop themselves physically. So that's what I wanted to say with regards to what social impact we will have, or what charitable activities we will do. We actually are looking to work with a few councils that are up for it. And if you are a council member or within central governments, then please feel to fill up the link below, and we will we will provide all the equipment necessary. We just need your permission to be able to install those in a parks that you will grant us the permission, basically, to do it. So that's for a social cause, and I think that will really, really improve, not the whole issues, but at least some of the issues that I'm really passionate about. As natural transition from what I've just said, and me being passionate about the gym industry, the fitness industry, and really about the health, we're going to talk about coffee for the gyms. Now, if you're an independent gym, right, why haven't you got a coffee machine in your gym? Why haven't you? Did you know that coffee is healthier and does the same job as a traditional pre-workout? Now, I've been spoken to some gym owners before, and they said, well, if we start selling the coffee, the trouble is people are going to stop buying our pre-workouts. To which I say, your pre-workouts earn you 30% margin. Your coffee is going to give you, if you sell it per cup, over 100% margin. Shouldn't be no-brainer. Plus, it can be very much argued that coffee will be a healthier option than the pre-workout drink. So this is something as well for a gym owner to think about. Not just that it will have a higher profit margin, but also it will give a sense of community. Now, give you an example. We supply, shout out to Fire Muay Thai Gym in Reading. We supply Fire Muay Thai Gym in Reading, one of the biggest martial arts gym in Reading area in Berkshire, and they have a coffee machine, and they are finding that it's good for business, one thing, but it also gives the members that something extra. They are changing for their training. They might have a coffee before training to stimulate themselves, and once they train very hard, they don't have enough energy to get home, so they can have another cup of coffee. Plus, if you are having any sort of mums classes, for the busy mums who might come with their kids for workout, or for instance, if you have mums picking up children from training. If you're a gymnastics gym or doing martial arts for young children, you might also think about having a coffee machine, because while mothers, fathers are waiting for their children to finish a session, they could have a cup of coffee. Now, no one telling you should provide it for free. Of course not. You can charge for it, but anywhere from £3 to £4. And if you are filled up with 20 children, just do the math. In 1 hour, you can sell 100 cups of coffee. So that is, I think, a really good addition that could be for the independently run gyms, whether they are the fitness centers, the martial art gyms. It's something like that. And also, when you're doing your, let's say, seminars, and you're having some visitors from, all over the world doing seminars, perhaps you're going to have a bigger bunch of people, and all they're going to all want to do, they all want to have a cold drink, maybe a coffee, maybe a sandwich, and so on. So again, it's another opportunity and revenue earner for the gym's fitness industry. Also, what we do as well, we provide some churches with coffee. Now, we are very aware that a lot of churches and their coffee business is really based upon charity base. So we do offer 20% discount on all service work that we do for churches, for their coffee machine repairs or installations. We just give them honorable 20% off. Now, unfortunately, of course, it doesn't apply for coffee, but we do give whenever you run an event, for example, a Macmillan event or any of those events, once or twice per year, we give them a free 1 or 2 kilos of coffee to substitute that event. So if you are a church and you're also making coffees, and you wanting to bring in more members, or it's another way, or also a revenue stream for that church, of course, give us a link, give us a follow. We will be happy to have a discovery call with you, or even in-person meeting, and see how we can help you. Now, coffee for the mums. It's very important for me that I say this, because I'm actually a father of a young child myself. Now, and what I find is I'm the only breadwinner in the family and so on, and my other half has a lot of time to go to different baby sessions, baby mother sessions, and grab a coffee afterwards, because with other mums, because they're quite busy, they have little children, they don't want to go to a restaurant, or they don't necessarily go to a cafe to have a lunch and spend there half an hour. They might want to have a quick catch-up, 10-15 minutes, and they are looking to go to a coffee shop. And one of the things a coffee shop can do is actually shout out about it, that they are, friendly for baby mums to come with the children. It might be actually a good idea for a coffee shop, if you're a coffee shop and you're finding that, there is a lot of sessions in your surrounding area for the baby mums groups, to actually have have some toys, have some soft mats somewhere in your coffee shop, if your space allows. But even if your space doesn't allow, at least what you should do is one hidden tip. You should actually put a Facebook post about it, or Instagram post about it, that you are friendly for those type of occasions, and the kids are welcome, and so on. And that's something that can actually help you boost the sales, because sometimes mothers don't know, or is that coffee shop very serious, or are they friendly for baby mums to come in, and so on. So it's very important. Something else that coffee shops can do, as another probably advice for them, is to offer a good morning coffee. A lot of, even at the moment with my customers, a lot of pubs do a morning coffee sessions at least once per week, where local people, either from a cycling club or maybe from the church, where if they don't have a coffee machine, will go to a pub for a coffee morning to discuss, the news in the village, or just catch up with their friends. So that's also a very, very good. So Also for coffee shops, what we found out with my fiance is that some coffee shops are very reluctant to give a hot water for baby bottle. And some coffee shop, of course, don't want to do it because of their health and safety, etc., etc. But then what mums end up doing, they're asking for tea with a tea bag on the side and using that. And a lot of it frustrates a lot of young mothers out there. Some coffee shops have a very good idea, which you may know about, and they do something called, jog my memory, baby food stations. So actually, where mothers can actually go up and prepare the food or the meal for their child. That's a very good idea as well. And coffee shops nowadays are also a very good stop for people working at home, because sometimes, as what I've heard, a lot of people who work from home, maybe in the IT industry, and they don't go to the offices often. They really are feeling very much tight in their house, and they're looking to go either to a library or maybe a nice cafe to do a little bit of work, to feel a little bit more social. So remember that as well when you are doing your menu or when you're doing your coffee shop layout. Actually, who are going to be your target customers? If you're not getting enough customers at the moment, think maybe of the ways, not just how do you change the menu, but maybe how you approach and what you can offer to people, such as people who are looking to work from home and come into your store for maybe computer work. Make sure you have some plugs and sockets, for instance. That would be for a start, something very so simple but so important, so they can charge their laptop or the phone, or have a business meeting or meeting with a colleague, and then they can bring you sales that way. Now with the mums, if they know that cafe is good and you have a good customer service and you have a baby station and you have maybe some toys there for the children, now more mums going to come in. Now they're going to bring in again more moms in, and then you can improve your sales. So such a simple tip, but I don't see enough coffee shops doing it, especially if you're located near where there are activities going on for children and mums. Maybe if you're getting a swimming pool or some sports club, etc. It's very important to have those things handy, because you can accommodate a larger amount of customers. So what we can learn? We can learn that everyone can will start their business different. My advice would be just simple: just do it if you're looking to start the business. A lot of people have too much academic background, for example, PhD, masters, and so on. And sometimes it's advantageous, but sometimes it's a hindrance. Because I think they want to do is too much theorizing, too much market research, only to them to find out that they haven't made any decision whatsoever within a year. And sometimes the best people in the industry are not doing it. The smartest people in the industry are not doing it. So people who end up to be winners are the ones who actually will say, oh, I got an idea, start a coffee shop, I'm going to start it. How? I will see later. The same thing as you took a step to the gym once. You didn't think, oh, how many coaches I will have, how much will I need to lift. No, you just went to the gym first, and everything else builds up. And sometimes it's better to learn by doing, practical stuff. I'm not saying that don't do research, don't do any market research, don't weigh its pros and cons, but just know that the best time to start any business is today, because tomorrow or 10 years down the line, rent ain't gonna get cheaper. The barriers to opening the business isn't gonna get more simple. So if you have an idea, you wanna start today, because by you starting today, you're gonna learn and more opportunities will open up to you. But if you don't start, you're not gonna be in the right circle, in the right place, to actually succeed or to see any results whatsoever. One thing I'm very happy about is that we are fortunate enough to serve customers from all over the world. We have European customers, we have customers from Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, we have customers from all over the world practically. I couldn't think we have customers from Australia, New Zealand, who actually were born there, but they have opened their business up in the UK. And very good to see those people, because they all bring something new to the industry. Because let's say, for instance, some of my customers who were born in Albania, well, they bring a great Mediterranean menu to an option in their restaurants. my Turkish customers that we have, they can offer Turkish coffee. Again, bring something new to the industry and give customers more options. Because when customers from UK, let's say, go on holiday abroad, they see, a new trend. They see different foods. They see how different ways people make coffee. Then they come back to the UK only to learn it's still stagnant somewhere. It's not offered. So it's really good when you have an owner who wasn't necessarily born in this country, or maybe was born but travel a lot, and they're bringing something from other countries, or what I call the best things from all over the world. Now, we sell coffee from all over the world, and different cultures prefer different coffees. So, for instance, at Greek restaurants, they tend to go for a lot stronger coffees. Same as the Turkish restaurants, they tend to go for a stronger, full-bodied coffee. Now, that's not necessarily something that maybe an artisan bakery that's also serves coffee want to go for. But what we do, we supply both of those types of customers. So we have a stronger coffee with a higher Robusta concentration for customers who have authentic or more authentic restaurants or mezes, and we have slightly less bitterish, less sourish coffees, more of an all-day round blend for the places that want to complement their cakes, be it the bakery, or little PlayStation where they serve coffee as well. So we can do all of that for the customers. All you need to do is, again, click a link in bio, fill up some of your essential details. We'll book a discovery call and go over what we can do for you. And I can assure you there's not a business we haven't worked with. We've worked with the gyms who needed coffee. We worked with all sorts. Schools, churches, rugby clubs who also sell coffee when they have matches. So we do know not just geographics, what each geographical area may need in terms of coffee, what are the preferences of the customers are, but we can also see what is it that you like in your business. But bear in mind, the most important thing is, first of all, the data, but also what your customer feedback is. Because as much as I would like to say the best thing is for them to decide what coffee he or she should serve, it's not always. That's why we are very careful when we just take you on. We don't say to you, look, when you give your coffee sample, this is a coffee you must sell forever, because we have few different options. But what we offer is always to start off, first order 6 kg coffee, see what your customer's feedback is. If it's great, we can carry on. If not, we can adjust it. And also, it's up to the owner to listen to customer feedback sometimes, because we're not there always collecting the customer individual data from that coffee shop. We collected it as a whole. So it's very important for the owner to understand, is this coffee good? Are the customers happy? Is it too sour, too bitter, too strong? Because sometimes you don't have to actually change the coffee. Instead of doing a single shot, double shot, of espresso, you can do a single shot for certain cups, like say they're less than 12 ounce. Sometimes you can do a single shot. And I think nowadays, because the coffee world is so vast and expanding all the time, you as a barista should ask customer directly, not do you like a coffee hot or cold, strong or weak necessarily, but you can ask them, would you like a single shot or double shot? Because discerning coffee lover or someone who drinks coffee all the time will know how he likes his coffee, whether he likes it on the stronger side or on the weaker side. Now, you should know as a barista where your coffee comes from, and that's why we do barista training, because we need to make all baristas at your site aware of what they're selling, the coffee, the origin, the taste profile, and what it should taste like, so that the barista can make a good coffee, but also be knowledgeable enough about coffee that if customer does ask something, she can answer. So my advice from this is always ask your customers, do you want a single shot or double shot? Because not everyone wants nowadays a double shot, because people, again, drink coffee 3-4 times a day. They might be happy with a single shot latte, and often enough people ask that. So just bear in mind that you need to know, probably if you don't know what coffee you are selling, maybe just a generic blend that you get from Costco, or maybe have already some coffee suppliers that's just selling you the coffee and they're telling you, well, it's 50-50, 70-30, but you don't actually know the origin of the coffee, how it was grown, what sort of taste profile it is. Then I should suggest you click the link in bio and give us a chance, because maybe we can be your new suppliers. Just to say a little bit more about customers from all over the world. As we mentioned, the Albanian customers are doing very, very well. They have a lot of gastropubs and they're doing very well. Now, I will love you even more if you buy our coffee as well. So click a link in bio and we will be happy to work with you. Same as with all the Turkish restaurants, Turkish coffee shops. We know what technical support means to you. We know how important is a service element to you, both culturally and actually business is the same all over the world. So we are here and happy to help you. Now, as I was born in Ukraine, I wanted to mention some things about the potentiality for improving Ukrainian presence in the UK. Now, a lot of Ukrainian food is, I think, not yet up there, not yet well known about. And this is what I wanted to suggest to someone who is maybe Ukrainian right now and they're not yet in business, they're thinking about the business, but maybe they're working in a cafe or restaurant that does sell coffee or sells food. Now, the good thing is, if you can't just open a business just yet now, you can suggest to maybe your owner that you would like to do a Ukrainian night, maybe even if it's once a fortnight or once a week, and where you will have some of the authentic Ukrainian dishes on the menu. Because from what I've heard and seen myself, from personal experience, I'm finding that a lot of people who haven't tried yet Ukrainian food are really, really fascinated by it. So, that's a one way to learn the feedback, but also it's a good way to learn whether this business could be scalable, because if it becomes popular, then it might become a need for Ukrainian community in the UK to open, say, Ukrainian restaurants, which would be purely Ukrainian restaurants. If that's something you're thinking about in the future, we can maybe help you as well in some of our recommendations, because we have a lot of customers who might be up for an offer to offer Ukrainian nights or to offer Ukrainian dishes on the menu. Now, if you're Ukrainian and you like the business or the idea of a business, now you can think about, say, a couple of businesses. First of all, whole meal prep company. So you can prepare the meals, deliver them to restaurants and have them on the menu. Ukrainian cakes, Napoleon, apple cake, very good as well. Will probably be universally accepted and liked. What else you can do? You can also fill up. You can actually become a cake supplier to the coffee shops in the UK, making authentic Ukrainian cakes, maybe one or two sorts. That's also a very, very good business idea out there. So you can grab the one for free. See how kind I am. Going from that onwards, I think that Ukrainians who are in the UK have really good opportunity to start a business that way. Maybe even open a Ukrainian coffee shop. I know there's lots of Polish coffee shops that are opening up, which is really, really good to see. And they have zapikankę, and they have some other traditional Polish fast food actually. That is really great to see, because we are multicultural in the UK. We have so many nationalities, people from all over the world. So it's only fair that we have kitchens from all over the world. So I would say that we have enough Ukrainian people here, but also enough of even traditional English people who have tried Ukrainian food, who actually are looking to and would be very happy to try some if it was on offer in a coffee shop or a restaurant. So that's something for you to think about, but also not just for Ukrainians to think about, but also for the current maybe cafes that are thinking, what else can they introduce on their menu? How else can they be different within their area? Or restaurants as well. If a restaurant maybe is not busy on a Thursday, maybe it's a time for you to do a Ukrainian night on a Thursday, for instance. Or hire out your kitchen for that weekend or that Thursday, where the Ukrainian lady chefs can come in and prepare all the foods. Pubs, gastropubs, pubs in town centre I think they often undermine the importance of coffee. Not just the staff are not trained on coffee, but they don't want to offer the coffee, or if they have a coffee machine, they're not bothered. Quite frankly, to say they're not bothered, and that really makes me angry, to be honest. That's what I would say, because a lot of times you go to a pub and you have a meal, and what do you want after the meal? You want a coffee. This is not just for the restaurants, if any Republicans are thinking they're just for the restaurants, it's also for the pubs. And often enough, what I find, even if the owner is up for having a coffee machine, he thinks, oh, well, it's going to take so much time, they need to pull a pint of beer, will they have a time to work up the coffee machine? Maybe yes, maybe no. And often enough, the staff that are working in the pubs, they don't want to be bothered to make a coffee, because they don't have the skills, and they just say, oh, well, it's nothing. But I would say this to all the owners, whether you're a pub or restaurant: it takes some time to pull a pint of beer or a pint of Guinness, isn't it? You can't just do it in 5 seconds. No, you can't. You have to prepare it correctly. So therefore, you can't make a coffee in 5 seconds and expect that everyone's going to like it, because it's not the correct way of doing it. Now, I'm going to ask you, can you do a fried egg in 30 seconds? No, you can't do a fried egg in 30 seconds. Why? Because it takes longer than that. Any chef knows that. The same thing, any coffee person knows that you can't brew coffee in 5 seconds, because it's not going to be a coffee. It's going to be a comedy. So get serious about what you're doing, because you're serious enough to pull a proper pint of beer. Other people won't come to your pub. You're serious enough to cook egg properly, because it's a bit like a coffee, isn't it? You want an omelette, or you want a poached eggs, or you want eggs made in a different way. You say how you want to make your eggs. The same thing. If you say latte is a latte. Cappuccino is cappuccino. So please take care into learning about the coffee. But you don't have to struggle no more. Or you don't even have to get scared. You can just give us a like, follow, fill up your details, and we'll be more than happy to provide you and assist you with correct training, so you can have that coffee business boosting your sales in your gastropub or restaurant. Hello guys, again, we just unboxed a brand new Helios E65 grinder by Eureka. Very good, reliable grinder. As you see, it's on demand with a nice LCD display. Very easy to use for baristas. You have a little notch here which you can turn to make sure you can set the right amount, the right coarseness or fineness of the coffee. Find a good biting point. And here you can set up for how many seconds you need to do your extraction, and you can change it up or down the time for a single or double shot, all by clicking the LCD display. So you can actually be off tools barista, as long as they know how to use an iPhone, they will be able to use this grinder, because everything, you don't need any screwdrivers for it. You need to twist anything. You want to adjust finer, coarser, you just have a little adjuster here, just like this. You want to adjust the time of the grind, again, for a single shot or double shot. It's all done by plus minus little buttons over here. It couldn't be more simple. And something I wanted to mention, this is very affordable. This is not even a luxury. I would say this is essential. It's essential that you have a good grinder. We've spoken about 5 elements of a good coffee, which is water filter, really nice coffee, water for the coffee. Then your machine needs to be nice and clean, working properly, calibrated correctly. Then you have to have a good grinder that actually can grind the beans properly and to correct measurement. Also, then is your barista skills. And last is your coffee. Now, none of those elements are more important than any other. They're all in symbiosis, as I call it. They're all synchronized. You see, each one of them is important. You take one out, your coffee won't be great, and you are risking of making customers unhappy. An unhappy customer means less sales. It's no brainer. So if you have still to this day in 2024 a traditional grinder where in making loud noise, you have to pull twice for a double shot, once for a single shot, make sure you have enough grounds in the spout, otherwise you don't get enough coffee in, and you have inconsistency with the traditional grinders and lots of coffee wastage. Well, guess what? With this type of grinder, you don't have that coffee wastage, because you need to have, of course, the scales, the system of the scales, but you can program it so it gives you enough coffee waste, means higher profit per cup of coffee that you will receive, but also you won't make any mess as a second benefit as well. And of course, you know it's consistent because it's very hard to make sure that your coffee is consistent. Each of barista has her touch, and each one of them will put a bit less or more coffee if they're using a traditional grinder. Now, with this grinder, you take that element out that coffee can be less consistent, because whether you press single or double shot, whether you, I, or anyone else does it, it will always come out either 10 or 20 grams, for instance. So there you have more consistency, higher profit per cup, and you have less mess. So this is the future. And also, sorry about this, I forgot to mention, speed of a service. It is much faster for you to use than a traditional grinder. And you know what? It looks how it should look. It looks modern. It looks contemporary to what and elegant. So if you don't have a traditional grinder and you want something a bit better, faster, more profitable, something modern, look no further. A very affordable Essential Helios E65. We sell plenty of those grinders, and longevity-wise, you come with a 1-year full warranty. But I can tell you that this grinder can live, for 10 years if serviced. So, thanks for that. Also very important on the agenda, which I haven't mentioned previously, is your well-known cleaning protocol for your coffee machine. Now, a lot of people undermine the importance of cleaning their coffee machine. Now, you have a pulley mill for cleaning your steam ones to make sure that they are clean and tidy. And you have, of course, the pulley cuff to make sure that you're back flushing your coffee machine. You don't have coffee debris there, and it's just nice and clean. But you've been told probably that you need to flush it every day, every other day. Everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different way of cleaning it. Most people know they need to have a cleaning brush and use a pulley powder. But no one really taught you how much to use. Some say 1 gram, some say 2 grams. So it's all very inconsistent. And the problem is, as I find, people use it wrong or clean the machine wrongly. They're going to get a problem. Solenoid valve going to get blocked. You're going to come in, press the button on the coffee machine, coffee is not dispensing, water is not dispensing, because the group head is blocked. Now, this is a solenoid valve. That's what gets blocked normally. Is it by scale, because you don't have a good water filter, or because you've used an incorrect protocol for cleaning? Now, I don't go by 10 times, 20 times. I do it until it's clean. And I also use a blank plate when I finish cleaning. Put a new blank plate in and just do it with water 3 or 4 times, just to make sure it's 100% clean. And then I might actually waste 1 coffee on that group head before I start serving normally coffee. So what I want to make sure here that you understand is, if you don't want to get your machine blocked up, it's better to clean it not in the evening, as most people do because it's more convenient, but in the morning. And I tell you why. If you're in a pub or restaurant, you start cleaning your machine at night, some customers haven't left, you get distracted, you forgot how many times you cleaned, how many times you flashed it, boom, next morning you come in, oh, it's not working, group water not dispensing, and it's going to be because of this. Now, as I told you, be mindful, because it can happen for 2 reasons. Firstly, wrong protocol of cleaning it at night, not in the morning. That's why we recommend our customers to clean it in the morning, because if you are less likely to leave it on unattended and not to flush it through. Whether in the night time, everyone is tired, everyone rushing home, you forget about it, you left machine on, you didn't clean it properly with the powder, 8 hours, it gets sucked up like a cement, blocks up all the little pores through which coffee is coming from, or what is delivering to the coffee, and guess what? You're going to need an engineer call out to change a solenoid valve. Now, another reason this can happen is because you don't have a water filter. Now, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, different water filter for different machine. Not just for a different model of machine, no, I mean for the volume that you use. So let's say you have a 3-group machine and you're probably using a lot more coffees. And if you're selling something of a region of 30,000, 50,000 coffees a year, you need maybe 9,000 liter water filter. If you're only doing 100 cups a day, working 5 days a week, what your machine output is, you will be okay with a smaller water filter. But it's not always as simple as this, because you can just put some mathematics in and work out how many liters of water you're using. That's not always going to be inaccurate. Also, the good thing to do is to measure how calcified your water is, because different regions going to be different. For example, if you're in the Highlands, you will need nowhere as nearly as strong water filter as you would do in the south of England. But again, even in the south of England, different regions have different scale ratings, so it's best for us to test your water and determine the best water filter for you, unless you've already done so. But also, one big fragment is to remember is water filter isn't just to prevent scale in your coffee machine, because if you have scale in your coffee machine, the solenoid valves are going to get blocked up, your machine will be heating up the water in the steamers, but nothing will be coming out of the group heads because you blocked up the solenoid valves, right? Which are already by this little bullet over there. But what also can happen if you really don't change your water filter for a year and you go into a second year, and if you're in the hard water area and you're using your coffee machine as a tier as well as a coffee machine, I can guarantee you scale will just build up until one day your element inside the boiler goes like that, and you won't be able to use the machine, because as soon as you put the power on, the whole place will trip. Do you remember that happening to you previously? Happening to your coffee shop, causing you inconvenience, causing you loss of sales? Well, you no longer have to worry about that, because you've got thousands of elements on board for each and different type of coffee machines. So if your machine does go bang, we'll come and repair it straight away. But in the future, we will always recommend and teach you, if you become our coffee customers, how to prevent such things from happening. Ready, steady, go. Welcome again to the Pearl Show. Today I want to talk to you about something you're not expecting, about the crypto, exactly, cryptocurrencies, investments, etc., etc. Now, I know there's more than just a few people who already are business owners in the coffee shop industry, and they're thinking how to make more money, and they decide to purchase some crypto. Now, I'm not in favor of that. It's my opinion, however, but let me tell you why. Just why? Because crypto is something you can't predict. Even when you go on that app, it tells you don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Doesn't it spring your mind a little bit to worry, you know? And also, can you work harder and the price of whatever Bitcoin gonna go up? No. You can't affect the price of Bitcoin, so I worry about it. Why would you invest into something you can't affect? Now, if you have your own business, coffee shop, and you buy good coffee, good grinder, your growth is going to be exponential. It's very predictable. It's obvious. And you invest, and it produces you coffee. The more coffees that you buy, and we have this deal available with us, if you're going to buy more than 6 boxes at a time of coffee, aka over 24 kilos, the price per kilo goes slightly down. If you want to buy 48 cases of coffee, the price is going to go down. So it's very predictable for you. You can save money. So instead of you worrying about starting another business and being a crypto blogger, what's not, the financier of the blockchain, just think about real business, real thing you can affect today. And the harder you work within the coffee industry, the more you earn. We can't say the same thing within the crypto. So, guys, if you're in the coffee business, you're in a good business, just make it better. It will be easier for you. You need to disperse yourself too much far away. Stick with the coffee. Just do it more clever. See how you can order more efficiently. See if you can place larger quantities of coffee. See if you can start selling more coffee. Implement some changes I've been speaking about. And maybe your business will also boom and grow. Well, maybe, yes, if you work hard. In a crypto, you can just invest all your money, sit back for 10 years, and it may only drop. And then, or you might invest all your money, still work hard, check the markets every day, study the crypto, read all the magazines, and it still will drop. So here, if you're a sensible person, much better option. Invest in your equipment, invest in your coffee. The more coffee you buy, the lower the price is. You save money, you make money. No brainer up there. So guys, you're in a good business. Welcome again to Pearl Coffee and a Double Espresso Show. Today we have unboxed our brand new grinder, Eureka Helios 65, on-demand grinder. And we will just fill it up a little bit more with the beans. Hopefully this is familiar sound to you. Now, where do we start? How do we know what is the right timings for our grinder? How long should it grind for? Where should it be set up? Obviously, with the use of your machine. But people commonly ask, should we extract, how many grams should we put in double portaholic filter? Should we put 10 grams, 16 grams, 10 grams. Okay, it's gonna largely depend upon the coffee you're brewing. As a rule of thumb, for a double espresso shot, you probably will be going as low as 15 to 16 grams and as high up to as 20 to 21 grams, it depending on the style of coffee you are brewing. Are you doing a darker roast? Are you doing a lighter roast? What is the origin of the coffee? Is it a single origin? Is it the blend? You know, it's all going to have an impact. And also what kind of extraction you're aiming to achieve and the strength of the coffee. So this will play into an effect. So it's nothing to say it can be 17 or 18 grams. What is the best thing to do is actually to find a biting point, play around with it, and find what suits you best. Now, you can't go obviously 10 grams and 10-second extraction. Of course, it would be totally wrong for mostly any coffee. But within those parameters of a golden rule book, you should be somewhere between 16, let's say, to 20 grams for double. Now, how you do it? You take the little basket out of your portahole filter and you grind the beans. So at the moment, we are 6 seconds in. And what we're trying to do is to weigh in the coffee. So before we make any espressos, what are we doing here? We're going totally wrong. We've done too much. You can see it's too much because it doesn't even fit the porta holder filter or the basket. It spills out. Now you don't want to achieve this because it's a waste of money, you would say. So what you do on this grinder, you adjust, provided that the coarseness is correct, you adjust the time. So it probably will extract us in 5 seconds. Let's just do that briefly. With the brand new grinders, you will always have to waste maybe 5 or 10 coffees to make sure that you find that correct balance. So again, we will grind the coffee. And what we'll do now, we will weigh it in on our scales. Now, it's must have for every customer. At the moment, it's going as 19 grams. Now I know for this dark roasted coffee, we want to go 17.5 grams because this is a setting that I found to be the best. Now because the grind is correct, we need to again play in with the time, get it down to at least 1 second and find out where we got it right or wrong. Again, we want to tear the scales to its 0 and weigh it in. And that's it's coming to 17.4 grams. Now, we're almost perfect, I would say. Now, you see how easy it is. I don't need any screwdrivers, any tools to be able to adjust my grinder and find the right timing for it. So then when it comes to making a real coffee, all I do, and your fresh coffee is delivered to you without any wastage. Another thing I want to mention to you, with on-demand grinders, you're going to get a fresher coffee. If you have a traditional grinder which you have to pull maybe one time or second time to get enough coffee in, it will be inconsistent. With this, you get the consistency. You also get fresher coffee this way because it's on demand, it's grind to measure. So there we are. This is a little overview of Eureka E65 and how easy it is to actually adjust the settings, the timing it takes you to run the grinder, but also you have this little knot here that you can tamper with to make sure that your coffee isn't too coarse, isn't too fine, but just right for the extraction. Hello guys, and welcome to Double Espresso Show powered by Pearl Coffee. Now, did you notice my new t-shirt? This t-shirt will wear any member of our technical support team. Whenever you see this t-shirt, know that we are working extra hard to make sure that you're back in business and back serving the coffee, because this is a technical support t-shirt. Now, did you know that we are not just 9 to 5 Monday to Friday company? None of that. We are 7 days a week technical support. We have technical support 7 days a week for all our customers. Now, what you have to do is something very simple. Click the link in bio, become one of our customers, and you will have that protection and support 7 days a week, year in year, knowing that anytime your equipment can let you down, whether it's a grinder or the coffee machine, we are there to help you and restore you to the comforts. You will know that you can serve coffee, you're not going to lose on sales, and you don't have to face the embarrassment of not being able to serve coffee to your customers. How great is that? If you think that's great and you want to be protected and you don't want to have any emergency breakdowns that are unsolvable or unpredictable, click a link in bio, fill up your details, or we ask you some basic details and we will get back to you ASAP. Now, you may say, hang on a second, what if the machine is beyond repair? Of course, it can happen sometimes, but for those cases, we have spare machine always on any single, each one of our vans. Shall your machine be broken, beyond repair, or need an extra workshop service? Then we will swap you the machine and you will have a temporary machine, and at least we decide whether you're going to repair your machine or you're going to purchase a brand new one. Again, available 7 days a week for your safety and comfort, strength and stability. That's what we are all about. That's what our technical support team is all about. Many years of experience, top-class service. Look no further. Click a link in bio and be smart. Sign up with us. Be with us and be protected. Thank you.
Let's go!